Suddenly, one day. Good evening. The arcane detective here. Today's case file is on Gregor, the 13th sinner of the Limbus Company bus department. Gender is male, age is 35, and height is 167 centimeters or 5'6". A brown-haired man with glasses, Gregor wears the standard Limbus Company vest uniform, with certain exceptions. For one, Gregor always carries his tattered long coat in his left hand, as well as having his dress shirt rolled up on both arms. The most noticeable feature of this sinner is, of course, Gregor's right arm being an insectoid appendage that ends in a claw. On the left arm, there is a tattoo of the word Ungeziefer, which means vermin in German. The personality report from Limbus Company is the following. This sinner is relatively easy to handle in terms of personality. However, an upsurge of emotion or a sudden change of environment may cause parts or the whole of his body to transform into insectile, notably akin to a carapace, resembling that of the blank tissues. If you do not wish to be a rude manager, not that you're obligated to be nice, we recommend keeping your facial expressions in check so that your disgust is not visible to him. He sometimes uses cynical language, but he can still be reasoned with, and you can get around him without much difficulty as long as you learn the knack of it. As the personality report states, Gregor is an affable person and is very easygoing. This laid-back attitude has led Gregor to often refer to Dante as Manager Bud, and in general has a casual rapport with the other sinners, especially Rodion. However, despite Gregor's often easygoing nature, when confronted with negative emotions, or his past, Gregor's attitude changes into something much more resigned and somber. This is seen through Yuri's death and meeting Herman again. Despite these events, Gregor has managed to return to his regular personality, and has shown to care about the other sinners, especially having a soft spot for Sinclair, as seen when the group is heading to K-Corp. In combat, without the use of identities, Gregor uses his insect-like appendage, the name of the arm being Ungeziefer, which, as previously stated, means vermin. Gregor's history starts as an experiment and soldier for the old G-Corp. Gregor was operated on by Herman, who is his mother, though it is unclear whether this is a blood or familial relationship. Gregor was then put into a room with a hanging apple and was told to cut it with his arm. However, Gregor initially doesn't cut the apple, as he didn't want to, but soon realizes that he didn't have a choice. After cutting the apple, Herman congratulates Gregor and tells him happy 15th birthday. Gregor, like Otis, is a smoke war veteran. However, unlike Otis, it is known that Gregor fought for the old G-Corp, during which time he served under an unnamed manager. Due to Gregor not having serious negative side effects from the genetic augmentation, he became the poster child for the old G-Corp's war effort. However, after the war, the smoke war would result in the fall of the old G-Corp, leaving Gregor without a job and purpose. It is unclear what Gregor did during his years after the war. However, it can be assumed that Gregor tried to live a normal life. This can be seen in the flashbacks at the Lobotomy Corporation branch D-02, with Gregor riding a train, then unfortunately, due to a negative comment from one of the other passengers, the arm tries to attack someone. Gregor, not being in control of his arm, tells the security guard to cut it off, only to have the arm regrow back and start attacking again. Though this is only one flashback, it can be inferred that Gregor's life was difficult due to his arm. Gregor was the last sinner to be recruited by Faust, being the 13th and last sinner, right after Otis joined Limbus Company. Before getting to the branch D-02, the group encounters old G-Corp veterans, which Virgilius sends out Gregor to deal with. The old G-Corp veterans, who are at first somewhat nice, become immediately aggressive once they recognize Gregor, calling him a traitor, which becomes a usual situation in the preceding events. Along the way, the group is joined by a fixer named Yuri, who is a feather from the Fallen Wing Lobotomy Corporation. The group would also be joined by Aya and Hopkins, fixers from the same office. Gregor would bond with Yuri, both being feathers from Fallen Wings, even giving her Aya's gas mask when a gas grenade goes off, and advice that living on after your fallen comrades isn't a bad thing. Unfortunately, Yuri would die due to being eaten by the false apple abnormality. Dante would order Gregor to cut down the fake Yuri, but he could not. The abnormality would be instead suppressed by Herman's team. The reunion with Herman would be short. However, Gregor showed a clear disdain for the woman. After Zhuai Han would clap twice, the sinners would fall unconscious, ending the mission in failure. After returning to the bus, Virgilius would chastise Dante for the failure, at which Gregor would step in and try to take the blame. Gregor would later tie Yuri's gas mask to the front of the bus, saying that it was a memento of Yuri and Aya. Gregor would also state that he had a sister around Yuri's age, and that was all. There are two main areas of speculation regarding Gregor. For one, Herman did state that you should at least finish unwrapping what I gave you. That little arm isn't all there is to it. It is unclear what this statement is referring to. However, it is clear that Herman gave Gregor something greater than a simple genetic augmentation. The second is that in Gregor's base ego, suddenly one day, there are the library floor symbols of Malkuth, Gabura, Chesed, Bina, and Hakma. These symbols might be in Gregor's base ego, due to Gregor possibly being Jewish, as in his profile, Gregor's name is written in Yiddish, or Gregor has some unknown connection to the library, which has yet to be confirmed. Well, that's all for this case file. Poor bug guy. Anyway, I hope you all have a good day, and as always, good evening.